Concepts.
What's up?
What up, bro? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing today?
Man, I'm just trying to catch up on water because I've been slacking today. I know.
Yeah, I definitely got to get water right after this. I'm a little bit behind too.
Yeah, I posted my video this morning. I'm like, you're probably dehydrated. And I chugged my water, right? So I had 16 down.
Mhm.
And then I proceeded throughout the day not to drink enough.
So you got to call yourself on your own crap.
Hey, man, I'm always willing to call myself on the bullshit. I'm a stubborn son of a gun. And when I admit it to myself, I'm just like, yeah, probably handled that one the wrong way.
Yep. Yeah, dude, that's super important. Be able to hold yourself accountable because there's times where nobody's watching. You got to be able to actually follow through on your own values all of the time. Like when people aren't watching, it's much easier to fall off. So,
I mean, that's the definition of integrity, right? Like do the right thing when nobody's watching. And I was lucky enough. So I guess we can talk about core values a little bit, right? Like setting core values and when I was growing up, I didn't really have those set in my life, but I knew my mom always said money and marriage, right? So that kind of turned into my core values. Please, thank you, you're welcome. That's what I grew up on, right? You know my mom, she's a sweetheart.
Oh yeah.
But then when I got into the Air Force, we learned, integrity first. That's the first one. Service before self. It's crazy how when you get those core values and it's something different, how they can just become ingrained in you, right? And then excellence in all we do. I can't forget that one. Sorry, y'all. I didn't want anybody to yell at me. I had to get that in there. But that was the first set of real core values that I was taught. But the first one was integrity first, doing the right thing when nobody's watching. And
absolutely, bro.
I do my best to live up to that. Of course, I'm human. I'm gonna fall short occasionally, but hey. I know I have to hydrate because I'm probably freaking dehydrated, people. Here we are, so.
Yeah, one of the basics to help you get results no matter what you're trying to do. But yeah, with you just saying hey, do the right thing whenever no one's watching, that's something that I learned early on from coaches, within football and wrestling when I did that freshman year. That's something I heard repeated when I was 15 to 16 around that time. And it's stuck with me ever since. It's doesn't matter if coach is watching you. Most people are going to perform better when coach is watching them. But the people who really are going to succeed are the ones that perform like they are watching all the time. So that's something that stuck with me ever since sports.
Yeah, man. And that's such a fine line too, because what I found is that sometimes I can drive me insane because I'm just I'm walking on pins and needles, right? And it's just I'm not going to screw up. I can't screw up. And that's where it comes from an athlete standpoint of holding myself to such a high standard that it just becomes the norm now. I constantly feel like people are watching me and it's just that's okay. And it's just but sometimes it's hard to turn off. It really is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's where that delicate balance is. Because you do have to find a way to be able to turn off, take a deep breath and relax. But at the same time, consistently live up to your values and your standards. That's what we kind of do around 1P, right? We have expectations and standards that we have to meet, and that's the buy-in. And if you don't meet that buy-in, then you have to either adjust course really fast or get the hell out.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, one thing I actually learned from Will Grumpke a long time ago with you talking about how we kind of guide our actions through our core values. He said, hey, just look back at the day, each day. So at the end of each day, I kind of reflect and think, okay, what was my best core value of the day? What is the one that I exemplified the best today? And what was the one I needed to work on the most? Where did I miss a little bit? And kind of get both aspects of that. It's okay, I need to keep doing these things because I did really well with that core value today. And then you're able to look back, hey, I messed up on this today. And that's where you got to be hey, that's okay because I recognize that and I'm not going to let it happen again. So that's where I've heard Andy say 4 million times, don't make the same mistake twice. If you can keep yourself from making that same mistake twice by reflecting on your day each day and figuring out where you could have improved, then you're going to get that much better every single day. So just reflecting hey, what did I do well? what could I work on?
Dude,
That's it.
I absolutely love that. Holy Christ. And like the thing is that everybody's core values are different, right? So like they're individualized to each and every one of us. And the way that I kind of found how to create the core values in your life is to ask yourself, who am I? Who do I want to be? And how do I fill the gaps, right? Because like that, how do I fill the gaps? You're going to have to become a new person, and you create core values in order to become that person. And I know we talked about a couple of pods ago about guide rails, right? Like these freaking core values become the guide rails into your life. Like, I want to be that person. I want that goal. I'm going to follow these core values. So like legal, ethically, and moral. That's like 3 of mine. Like, hey, is it legally, ethically, and morally okay to go get this or go do this to sell this product? Yes? Cool. No? I'm staying away from it. Just because I don't want that karma in my life, brother. Karma's real and I don't want it. So like that's how I personally set my core values. Now, you can set them in a completely different way. But that's just like how I ask myself, like, who am I? Who do I want to be? And how do I fill the gaps? That's going to start creating my core values.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, dude, for me with my core values, it's just kind of like what naturally happens over time, like kind of things that are put into my life that I'm like, oh, I like that. Like, I mean, just simple stuff that I could hear on a podcast or just simply from something that I learned from someone 10 years ago that really stuck with me, where it's like, I really like that. I'm going to use it and apply it to my life. And then over time, it kind of shapes those values that I have, because it's like, it's something that's not always exactly the same too. Like 10 years ago, my core values were significantly different than what they are now. And the main ones stick around. Like our core values that we have here at First Form, like those have been a part of my values for a very long time, but there's always little changes as I learn more, as I have more experiences. So it comes from a million different places, just from influential people that I want to be where they are one day. So looking forward, like, hey, they did really cool stuff. I want to do that too. I'm going to apply some of that to my life. And then it slowly has shaped those values that I have, and they're going to keep changing too.
Dude, and that's such a great point. Like you can take some from that person, take some from that person, be like, ooh, I don't want anything from that person. And like Frankenstein them into your life and to make them work for you. Yeah, I think that's really important. Like, why are you not learning from Andy? He's only a billionaire, right? Like, why are you not learning from Will Grumpy? He started from nothing, worked his ass off, and look at where he's at now. He's freaking, like, I don't know, the 3rd, 4th person in the company at First Form here. Like, It's insane. And then, like, same goes with sports. Like, why not take some things from Michael Jordan? Why not take some things from LeBron James? Like, see those guys, what they do, how they're executing, and then bring that into your life. And if it works for you, keep on doing it. Amplify it. It's going to amplify you. And I think that's really important for you. But thank you for pointing that out. Like, you don't create all of them yourself. You can pick and choose and be like, hey, that actually works. I'm going to bring it into my life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, dude. And it goes with like, each person is going to be, that's how you become an individual. That's how you become unique. We all have those different experiences that make us who we are. And that makes me think about like using these core values whenever you are going through something really difficult or you have to make a really hard decision. And like you were saying, using it as guardrails to kind of keep you on the right path. When you do that and you make a decision on something that's really difficult and it may not go your way, it may not go exactly the way you want it to, but you can feel good about that decision you made if you use those core values as guardrails, where you kind of reflect or you make that decision because of those values that you've had. You can feel good about that. Even if maybe you do someone wrong by that decision that you made, you still had the right intent behind it. So it goes back to that intent.
That also goes back to my, like, hey, the harsh truth of reality is like, you're going to be a villain in somebody's story.
Yeah,
if you follow your core values and you're like, for me personally, if it's legally, ethically, morally right, and I still hurt somebody, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I am doing my best to do the right thing, not only in my life, but towards whatever goal I'm trying to accomplish. So like, and like sometimes people are going to get hurt. That's part of the game. I'm going to get hurt by other people's actions. Like that's fine. And that's just part of being life, right? But like just staying true to those core values, you're always going to be able to go to sleep at night. Like something might keep you up because like it didn't work out the way that you wanted, but you're never going to be kept up by like, oh, did I go against myself, my core values, my identities, and shit. That's just not going to be the thing that keeps you up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, everybody's going to have very different values. So your value, the decisions you make from your values may piss somebody else off because they have very different values. And that's
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where people get to arguing online and they can't accept like, hey, that's what I think of. We see it all the time. People arguing about dumb shit online. Like,
bro, I'm telling you, there's some things like I'll click on it because I'm like, oh man, I just want to see this. And then I like get into the comments and I'm just like, dude, this is so toxic. I just need to get out of here. Yeah. I need to like go cleanse my brain of like what this read online.
Yeah, no, I'll get interested in those comments sometimes, read a few, and I'm just like, this is such a waste of my time. Like, this is great.
Just like it's like I want to see the tea, or I'm just like, oh, I want to see the reaction of people, and it just gets so bad in there. I'm just like, oh, avoid the comments. No wonder Joe Rogan is just like, don't do that, don't do that.
Yes.
Don't do the comment section.
Yeah, no, it is pretty entertaining on some comment sections though, because people just, I mean, when people are just roasting each other, that's genuine comedy to me. That's hilarious, but most of the time it is toxic. Sometimes it's like, okay, these guys are hilarious. So it's funny sometimes.
Man, what a world we live in, isn't it? Isn't it crazy how like, I don't know, 2004-ish time frame, I think, is when Facebook/YouTube kind of started up, and now look it up 20 years later. I think such a different world that our parents definitely could never even like forecasted this was coming.
Oh, absolutely not. But yeah, now some of our parents are actually like familiar with Facebook and everything like that. So
I know it's a little scary. It's crazy. Well, so like. I had an opportunity to sit down with my grandmother. We were just talking about life, right? And it was a blessing, that's for sure. But like, so she was born in 1936, right? So I was able to then it dawned on me. I was like, I never asked my grandmother about World War II, what she remembers. I never asked her about Vietnam. I never asked her about the Cold War. So like, we just started I just started peppering her in questions. She was probably sick of me by the end of it. But I was just like, Grandma, like, you seem so hot.
Yeah.
Like she remembers the ration cards. She remembers like learning the duck and cover stuff. She remembers like because the war, ended in 1945, so like she wasn't that old. She was only 9 when it ended, but like she remembered like that part of her childhood. She said her first memory was like from when she was like 6, and then she was able to like kind of remember from there. And then it's just like reflecting like what a time. Like my grandmother, born in 1936, remembered World War II, and then like just going through everything. Kennedy assassination, she remembered exactly where she was and what she was doing. And then that led into, the 80s and the 90s, like, because that's a wild time to be in, right? And just think of it, then like into the 2000s when everybody thought we were going to die like 25,000 times because the calendars are ending and the .com bubble and the freaking new millennium, like. And then I was in all of Iraq and Afghanistan. Like, it's just crazy what that generation has seen.
Oh, yeah. And how different, like, to your first point, like, how different it is now with, like, being social media and so connected online. It's like back then you had to go miles and miles to see your friends, and now like me and you will hop on FaceTime, able to see each other from across the country whenever you're on vacation.
We FaceTimed each other like 3 times before we started this pod.
Yeah, we're freaking.
We're just like, did it work? I don't know. Let me check. Yeah, it worked. Okay, let's get this done.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So there's good and bad that comes with it for sure.
My grandmother still writes her friends. Like that's how That's how crazy it is. And it's just like, am I going to be sending Josh, like Becker and John Six and Caleb Warden? Am I going to be sending them like a hologram message when I'm fucking 75 years old? Like wherever in the world we are, like what is going to happen? Like how are we going to communicate? It's just like my brain is just all over.
Dude, we gotta get the hologram message going where you, like your whole body pops out of like your watch or something, and you see a message from a friend. That needs to happen. I need it.
Awesome. That would be awesome. Oh my god! Like, couldn't you imagine? Like, it's like,
oh, dude, that's just me being a freaking bodybuilding nerd. Think about how much better check-ins with coaches could be. Have a full hologram of their posing, like a full video.
That's true.
In person.
That's true. You could just be like, they can correct you like in the moment. Like, no, go here. You got to move this there. And
I think that's $1 million idea right there. Actually, we need to cut this out of the podcast so we can go make that.
No, it's for the people. For the people. They say that an idea not acted upon, like, isn't really an idea at all. So, you know, if anybody wants to do that, I'll be an investor.
Oh, but, yeah. Let's do it.
I just know I'm not smart enough. You know, the old thinker doesn't know how to do that.
No, I definitely don't know anybody, or I'm not smart enough.
Dude, what's funny about that is, like, I say that, but in the back of my mind, I instantly think Rubber Ducky. So I don't know who let the podcast people in on the Rubber Ducky secret. Have we? Until never.
I don't think we have. We might have mentioned it a bunch of podcasts ago, so I'm sure there's plenty of new people who don't know the Rubber Ducky story. So
like, if you ever pay attention to the podcast and like Six asks a question or asks a question, either of us say, "Hey, why don't you Rubber Ducky?" or something like that. Anything with a Rubber Ducky, that means Google the damn thing. Okay, so like before you ask us a question, as you Google it, that's like the buy-in. All right, and I do this with Caleb all the time, and he does it back to me occasionally. Like they'll ask me like, "Hey, when's Monster Games?" and I'll just send them a Rubber Ducky. Because, first off, the gifts are hilarious. So, like, there's, like, a big Rubber Ducky and there's, like, small Rubber Duckies. But it's just like, dude, like, when's Monster Games? Like, that's it. Like, you could have asked Google that instead of me, and you would have gotten your answer instead of waiting for me to reply. And it's like, I get it. Like, sometimes you just, like, want an answer from the source to, like, take the initiative, like, see if you can figure out the answer first. If you can't figure out the answer, that's when you ask.
Absolutely, yeah. If someone asks you a question that they can easily type in on Google and get the answer very quickly, it's just like, hey, Rubber Ducky, man, go figure out yourself. Like you can type. Like
you're wasting time waiting for me to reply. Like you're almost building in something. So like you want to waste that time because like if you can just Google it without waiting for me to reply, like there's your answer.
Absolutely.
And let's just let people in. Like the way that this came about was Sal got so sick of people like coming to ask him like basic questions. This is where in HQ or original HQ 1. Like and so he just started putting like a bunch of Rubber Duckies around the office. Did I have that story correct? Because I wasn't there.
Yeah, I think he did that. It was, I think it was right when we got to this building, though.
Oh, when we got to the mothership.
Yeah, I got mine. He handed me mine in a meeting we had with him one time. It was like, you guys need the warehouse management. You guys need this. Use your Rubber Ducky.
Oh my god, that's great. That is great. But it also like empowers you to think on your own as a leader. Warehouse management and then solve problems on your own. That if like things really, really go wrong, then you ask for help.
Absolutely.
So it's actually showing trust in the subordinate leadership, creating that strong middle leadership that it is what he created by no longer being the go-to option.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it goes back to, like you mentioned, leadership. Like becoming a leader, you have to be able to take initiative to solve these problems, like to find a solution rather than, there's something I actually struggled with a long time ago when I first started was I was good at finding the problems, but I wouldn't bring a solution. I think we've talked about this before, but to take initiative to actually find the solution, like it's not that much harder. You find the problem, then you figure out what what to do to actually reverse what is happening.
Yeah.
But also,
you got to bring something to the table. Like, if you're not bringing something to the table and like just making that little effort to like, man, like I tried to solve this on my own, but it's outside my depth, so I need help. But this is what I'm coming up with. Can you help me build on it? And then maybe, like, we're just using Sal as an example, but then maybe Sal might ask you something that'll open up a new piece of your eye, where then you go fill in the gaps yourself. But it's because you created that momentum by taking that effort, or like, taking that effort, taking the initiative, and then continuing to build on the plan.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, and you have to first take the initiative and actually try. It also reminds me of something I learned from, I mentioned the book last podcast, the book Limitless by Jim Quick. He talks a lot about how we don't use our brains enough. We don't actually try enough. And our brains are like a muscle. You have to use them more to get them better, to be able to remember things faster, to be able to solve harder problems. You have to practice those things. And when you go through and when you just ask your friend, like, hey, what's this? Instead of figuring it out yourself, like, you're just taking the easy route. And it's like taking a set off, like taking it easy.
Letting your brain atrophy because you're not working it.
Exactly. Yeah. So don't take sets off in life too, because that makes your brain muscle get smaller atrophy, like Sully said. So make sure you're actually like trying to solve any problem that you have. Give it everything you got first, and then you can go ask for help. Don't be afraid of asking for help, but at least try first.
Yeah. You got to take that initiative, and we're saying initiative a lot in this podcast, but it's truly what it is making the effort towards solving the problem. And if you still get stuck, then you can definitely ask and figure out. But first ask them where we're good.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, no, I mean, we started off talking about core values, and this is one of our core values that are super important, and it applies to so many different things in your life, like becoming a leader. If you become like a father or mother down the road, you have to take initiative to solve those problems within the family. You can't just let that stuff slide by. Really, it applies to everything. So make sure you are taking initiative to solve problems before you try to ask other
examples of this, and it's like tying in the company too. So I was just at the outdoors games, right? And it was the second one that we held as a company, and it was freaking awesome. Amazing athletes, like doing crazy workouts, still being able to shoot on target to where like I'm just like, damn, goals, right? But I got to talking to my friend Jonathan, who I met at the games, and I'll link it below because he has an amazing podcast.
I'll have to check it out.
Redbeard, crazy dude, awesome dude. No, and thanks to you. But
exactly.
He was telling me that he told me the story again of how Jade created outdoors, like first one outdoors. Just like one day, Jade was just like, "Fuck it," and then created a Facebook name, a Facebook group, and an Instagram name, and like obviously because we're a company that's trademarked, well. Came up on the whole leadership's radar, right?
Yeah.
And Eric came over to Jake and was like, "Is this you?" I was like, "Yeah." Kind of expecting to kind of, get. Eric was just like, "You serious about it?" "Yeah." He's like, "Run with it," and that was it. Like, he took the initiative to create something that he was passionate about, and he set the groundwork for us. But like, they were just like, "Good, we're serious about it." So, and like it's normal. And I think the page has like 44,000 people follow the page now. When I first started on HQ 3 years ago, it was 28,000. Like just being able to see that page grow and like the community grow, absolutely crazy. But it's all because Jake decided to take the initiative.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've seen that happen multiple times with different departments across First Form, and it's just people taking the initiative to solve a problem that we didn't even know that we had. Like with Jake in that aspect, like we didn't know that we needed to get into the outdoor space even more. Yeah, Dino is the first person that ever did that, and he literally just took the initiative to create a whole department that has never really been created. We can't go too deep into what he created because
just know he created an entire department in First Form, and I'm gonna link once again, I'm going to link the episode to Dino's podcast because he named him on, just in case people want to go back and catch it, because that dude's story is absolutely insane.
Oh, yeah. I got chills and freaking goosebumps the whole podcast that you guys did. Like, you and Dino.
That,
It was
incredible. That humbled me. I was just like, God damn, this dude. And, like, his family came from this, and, like, just built, like, seeing the man that he is now, like, it is craziness. But yeah, like, a lot of it is, like, seeing a problem, feeling a problem, and then just running with it. Like, knowing that you're probably going to mess up a little bit, and then you go from there. And
Absolutely.
honestly, we can talk about messing up, because you kind of messed up your stomach, brother.
Yeah, that is very true. Today,
what happened?
yeah, I got you. So we're actually we're both in St. Louis right now. We're on video today because got my stomach a little messed up today because it is refeed day. And I can go into what refeeds are, but basically I messed up and tried out some foods that didn't really sit well with my stomach. I used a little bit, so I actually threw a little bit extra Ignition. It's our post-workout glucose product in with my carbs this morning. And that's actually the point behind that was to try and refill my glycogen a little bit more. So the stored energy inside my muscle, that's essentially what refeeds are for. But I put it in with like my rice and cream of rice today, and it didn't sit well with my stomach at all.
Dude,
so
carb on stuff.
Yeah. Hey, it's the right amount. I have a carb goal of 450 today, so I'm not going to go over that.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so with using something like glucose, it actually helps to refill that glycogen a little bit more efficiently. And then it will spike my blood sugar and come back down later. And now I'm feeling that because I'm a little bit more hungry. So I'll be able to eat that next meal a little bit easier, but it also helps you utilize more of those carbs, actually put more of them in your muscle rather than storing them as fat, because I'm going up in calories today. But basically I messed up today, and now I know for the future, hey, this is not the route to go down. We can find some other ways to get in some more sugary carbs to refill that glycogen.
This is not the move.
It's like abort, hit the eject button on this one. But yeah,
well, your body hit the eject button, that's for sure, bro.
That is exactly what happened. It was like, yeah, no, this is not for you. But yeah,
well,
no,
because we have like the ability to nerd out a little bit. Let's explain what refeeds are. Right?
Absolutely.
So with everything, diet included, I like to say nutrition, but we'll call it diet, nutrition interchangeably. Okay. Workout, everything in life. Like, you're going to have peaks and you're going to have valleys. You're going to have peaks and you're going to have valleys, right? So, like, you're going to have to consistently go like this. And you're going to cut right now, right? Because you're going for your show. Mm-hmm. So your metabolism over time is going to slow down because it wants to become more efficient with the food, right? Like the energy that you get it, and it actually doesn't want to let go of that stored fat. Right? Like, it's like, I'll get rid of muscle mass first. I want to keep this stored fat because that's what's going to keep me alive. In the long run. Right? So,
absolutely.
When you're on a cut, let's go into the importance of refeeds and what they are.
Absolutely. Yeah, dude, you started off perfect. Just quick point with when I messed up. Now I know that for the future not to do that. That's going to happen along your journey. Like, there's going to be times where you mess up and it's like, all right, going back to like, don't make the same mistake twice. This is just kind of a test where I was like, hey, does this work? Okay, no, it does not. We're going to try something new. So that's kind of where in refeeds along my prep, it's kind of, I'm preparing for my full carb up right before we get on stage, and I'm going to know exactly what I need to do because I've messed up a couple times throughout prep. So that's where mistakes are beneficial. You learn what not to do so you can know exactly what to do. But with
all tweaks throughout the process, right? Like, that's what you're doing. Like, trial and error, it's part of it.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's just little tweaks here and there and you figure out what to do. But you led into it perfect on refeeds. Like, a big reason why you do refeeds is because your metabolism will adapt to those lower calories. You'll burn less over time. That's why you hit plateaus. That's why if you diet for 8 weeks and keep dieting and weight loss stops, because your metabolism has actually slowed down. You're burning less calories. That's where refeeds can come in. So refeeds is when you are trying to eat for bodybuilding prep. You want to do more carbohydrates, less protein, less fat. And the big reason for that is because you are going to use those carbs a little bit better. You're going to assimilate them better when you have lower fat. So they're going to digest faster with the low fat. And then carbs are protein sparing. So you don't need quite as much protein when, like today, I'm eating 200 more carbs than I normally do. So I don't need quite as much protein. But it's going to get that metabolism going a little bit again. It's going to help you burn more calories by increasing the amount of calories you're getting in overall. That's going to essentially like put some fuel on the fire and get it burning a little hotter again.
Yeah. It's like throw wood on the fire to bring it, to rev it back up a little bit.
Exactly. And then the big reason why in bodybuilding prep you want to do mostly carbohydrates, that is because you're refilling that glycogen like I was talking about, because you're going to deplete glycogen, that main energy source for intense training, and it makes your muscles look a little flat. So like rather than looking full, round, and pumped, like whenever you have a good pump, like on an arm day where your arms are got the veins popping out looking good, it's going to help you get closer to that look rather than a more flat, stringy look where you don't really have the veins popping out. So it keeps you fuller so you can look your best on stage when you get there too. So that's a big reason why you would do it in prep as well. So you don't completely flatten out and can look your best on stage, because you kind of have to make that, like you have to balance the look of like being super shredded, being completely dry and lean, but also looking big and full. So you have to have that balance, and that kind of helps you stay in the right area there.
And there's two things that I want to add to that. Number one, when you talk about looking flat, right? So carbohydrates actually help the body retain water, and then that's what makes everything look a little bit fuller. And that goes into my second point and the importance of refeeds, is that as you diet down, normally, unless you're on a ketogenic, actually, especially if you're on a ketogenic diet, Jesus, you are getting rid of most of your carbohydrates. Right? So normally your protein and your fats kind of stay the same all the way throughout prep. And that carbohydrate is a thing that you can kind of finagle up and down. And then the importance of, as you diet down, so like it might take 2-3 weeks, you're going down, you're bringing them down. Now you refeed it, carbohydrates jump back up, you feel full again, glycogen refilled. And now for that next week, 2 weeks, you're going to feel on fire again because you finally got a little some glycogen within those muscles, right? Helps you retain a little bit of water. You start looking good. You're still veined out. But that's the two things that I wanted to add, is that carbohydrates do help the body retain water. That's why when you cut them, you tend to lose some water weight. Like that initial 2 to 3 pounds normally is water weight. And then the importance of a refeed is to get those back up, throw some fuel onto the fire, and start letting up going again.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a great point. With it improves, helps to keep your training performance at its peak. So you have really good performance the whole time. That's another huge reason why you want to do refeeds, because like you said, you're going to feel really good for a few days afterwards. That's going to keep your fuel, your gas tank full for those workouts. Yeah. Actually, when you get deeper into prep, you'll know you need refeeds more often when you hit a refeed, and then 2-3 days later, you're back to feeling like you did before that. That's like, all right, your body is freaking working and getting through all those extra calories, all those extra carbs really quick. And it's like, okay, I need to start implementing these maybe twice a week now instead of once a week. And that's something you got to think about when you're getting into a prep where you're getting really, really lean at the end. You may have to do it multiple times a week to get the best result. So, well,
especially you, because you're a hard gainer. So it takes a lot for you to keep that muscle mass on. So refeeds it's gonna be different for everything. Like the fitness industry it depends for everybody, right? You might need 2. Derek leading up to his comp might need to be 30 carbs for 2 weeks straight, right? It all depends on the person. Now, but there's something that I really, really have to get into that's really important, right? And
Absolutely.
When I was on Andy's team, the Real AF team, we had to explain this to people regarding 75 hard. Most people cut on 75 hard very few people bulk on 75 hard, which is completely okay, right? Like, you just have to establish a diet.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is if I go above a certain caloric intake, am I cheating on my diet? Now, me as a coach is, as long as it's a planned out higher caloric day, i.e. a refeed day, and you are sticking to your clean foods, meaning no pizza, no candy bars, obviously that'd be cheating, no chocolate chips, ice cream, all of that stuff, it's okay even on 75 hard because A, it's planned, it's part of your nutrition plan.
Yes.
B, you are sticking to those natural-ish foods that you have approved in your diet plan. And I say natural-ish foods because, like, in my diet plan, sometimes when I'm cutting, I have a bagel, I have bread, I have things like that, but it's established ahead of time.
Yes.
Right? So for you, it's like eating what's on the diet plan, what is on the nutrition plan, but I'm just eating more. That's a true refeed. Not a refeed is I'm just going to go bash ice cream and call it a refeed. That's not a refeed.
Absolutely. Yeah, dude, I was actually just doing a little bit more research on refeeds, and I'm glad that you mentioned that because a lot of people get refeeds and cheat meals completely mixed up, and they're for totally different reasons too. It's like, so what you're talking about
it's on social media. You see this person with a double, triple cheeseburger with bacon and French fries and all this other shit. And like when I was an impressionable kid, I was like, I can do this once a week. I'm just gonna bash. Where's Cheesecake Factory? You know, like.
He said Cheesecake Factory. That's every bodybuilder's favorite freaking just place to go get a cheat meal.
Dude, because there's certain sizes that are huge. So you go order a burger and it's like a 1 pound burger, then you had the ham and cheesecake.
Exactly.
Like that's not a refeed. That is a cheat meal. And there's a
100%.
difference.
Yes. So yeah, if you guys noticed that I said as my cream of rice and my normal rice that I ate this morning, that I added that ignition to, it's like, it's the same exact foods that you're just eating them a little different. So you're eating more carbs, less protein and fats for that day. But actually a cheat meal can be used during prep or even your journey, but it's for different things. And the main reason why you would do a cheat meal is really for one, it's going to help with getting that metabolism going again. It's another way to do that, but it also helps to kill cravings, like reduce that ghrelin hormone. That's your hormone for hunger, that stimulates hunger. And then it helps to, I got to make sure that this is right. It helps to decrease leptin, which is the hormone that tells you that you're full. So when you you're increasing that leptin, decreasing ghrelin, increasing leptin with that cheat meal, then you have less cravings. But I want to make sure you know, if you are the type of person that has a cheat meal that will just go off the rails like myself, then cheat meals are not the way to go. Because if I have a cheat meal, I want all of the food. Like if I have a little bit of ice cream, I want the whole freaking carton, the entire thing. I'm eating the entire one.
I'm eating the entire 1 serving pint of Ben and Jerry's.
Pint.
Okay? It is a serving, people. And that's just the way. And I have to be very careful with it, especially with my eating disorders, where like I get to the point where like I'm like, oh no. But as I said earlier, I'm like, okay, go take a walk. When I feel like this, like I've learned to control it. It no longer controls me. But I also know that if I allow myself to go hog wild, me and you, this is why we're on the pod together, bro. Because me and you, like we go ham. There's a reason that I don't go to all-you-can-eat buffets. There's a reason why, if it's a potluck, we out. Okay? I might even go for a little bit. There's too much damn good food, okay? I need to leave. And that's just how I've learned to cope with my personal eating disorder. But that is why cheat meals is very dangerous. And I've found for cheat meals, it's very difficult for me to get back on track. Because it's just like, once I get that good taste of sugar, and I get that good taste of pizza and all that stuff, it's very difficult for me to get back on track. So I have to use it like after a really, really long race to where like I know that, hey, I'm back on it tomorrow. I need these calories right now. But like cheat meals it's very difficult for me to get back on track, like I said. So I have to move very strategically. I'm a big fan of refeeds, Cheat meals, not so much.
Yes, 1,000%. Yeah, so cheat meals can be used, but it's by very few people, honestly, that can use them well, because most people are going to experience that. And because you were like, hey, I just get that little taste, and I gotta have more. Like that reminded me, like, hey, it is, yeah, dude, it is very similar. Actually, the hormones that are released during, like, when you eat good food, when you smell good food, when you're having that amazing experience with that really good food, it's very similar to when people take drugs. So it is addicting. Like, you have a big, like, release of dopamine and serotonin. It is not nearly as much as when you're taking drugs. So know that, but it literally is the same processes that happen. You release some of these same chemicals that make you feel that way. So it is actually very addictive. Something like the sugar in your food. Sugar is actually, if I remember right, from the study that I saw, it was more addictive than cocaine. So
that was my studies with Oreos. That was that one.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Oreos were more addictive than cocaine.
100%, and I 100% agree too.
I mean, you could have did that test on me, and it would have been like, yeah,
Yep.
Oreo, especially a nice little glass of milk.
Hey, I'm not just disregard. I've not saying I've had experience with both, but I agree. Oreos are definitely more addictive. Yeah, but I know.
Oh man, that's funny. No, like I think. Thank you for covering that and bringing that up to me even before pre-pod, because I think the importance of refeeds, first off, they're really important when you're going through your nutrition and your health and wellness journey. And Absolutely. Then to know how to use them to where they will benefit you, I think it was really, really important to cover. And Absolutely. Thank you for going into the difference of like refeed and cheat meal too.
Absolutely. Yeah, dude, actually I just thought of one more thing to throw in there on this aspect before I forget, because this is something that
let's go.
Yeah, let's go. So this is something more for long-term success for people who have lost a lot of weight. So people who are trying to lose 60 plus pounds. This is called diet breaks. So you can actually use this if you're losing fat for longer than 8 to 12 weeks too. And diet breaks is where you go back up to maintenance for a week or two, so a more extended period of time. You can even apply this to doing like refeeds. I know like some big bodybuilders, they refeed for 3-4 days in a row because that's how much they need. But with a diet break, you're going back up to maintenance to do basically all those things that we were just talking about, but it does a much better job because you're doing it for longer and you're not going to a surplus. You're just going to maintenance. So you're not going to gain body fat. You just so you regulate your metabolism, your hunger hormones. So reducing that ghrelin and increasing that leptin, and then also recovering from your workouts too. So when you're in a deficit for a long time, you're going to beat your body up. You're going to be more sore. Like I've been getting way more sore lately because of the reduced calories. Going back up to that maintenance will help you recover, kind of take down some of that fatigue so that you can go hard again. This is where like you would do a deload. So we've talked about this before. Deload on your volume in the gym. So you go down, are able to recover better from that. Then you increase your calories at the same time. And this is something that's super beneficial if you've been dieting for 12 or more weeks, or even 8 or more. And
I was about to say, even 8, man. I mean, like, I personally, and this is just my personally, remember, like, it depends. It's different for you and me, right? Like, it's like 4 weeks, 1 week of maintenance or surplus, and then back into it. Like, that's a game changer, guys. Like,
absolutely.
It's crazy how much your body can change when you get that. You take down volume in your workouts, so your body's actually truly recovering, coupled with increased calories. And then you're just like, oh my God, I feel like I'm on top of the world again. And then you get right back into it. And the results you're going to get are, will blow your mind.
Absolutely.
You don't always have to be in a deficit. You have to come out of it.
100%. A lot of people who have those huge weight loss journeys fall into that and where they're only in a deficit. And I'm glad you mentioned that with the 4 weeks on it and then 1 week maintenance. So long term, you're going to see even better results because after those 4 weeks, you lose 10 pounds and you go from 15% to 12%. Okay. After that week of maintenance, you're still at 12%. but you feel really good again at 12%, like the same you did at 15. And then you repeat the process. You get down to 10%, feel really good after the maintenance, then push again. Then you get down to single digits where most people do not feel very good, but you feel amazing because you're hitting those maintenance weeks in between each push that you do. And that's really the key to have your best look on stage, but also be able to do this like long term to make it a lifestyle, because nobody's going to go around feeling like crap all the time.
You said the magic word. You said it's because this is not, and the reason I don't use diet, I don't like to use diet, is because diets end. Nutrition you need for a lifetime, right? So like that's my whole thing is like, we don't diet and exercise. We eat and we train. We have our nutrition on point. Sometimes you're going to eat a little bit more. Sometimes you're going to eat a little bit less, but you're doing this for a lifetime. Sometimes you're going to lift a little bit more. Sometimes you're going to lift a little bit less, but you're doing this for a lifetime. It's that long-term goal. Like, I love getting results in 8 weeks, but when it's just a snippet of my hopefully 100 years of life, like that 8 weeks, come on now. Like, if I fall short of my goal or if I crush my goal, like, grand scheme things don't really matter. Right, other than a couple of pictures and a smile and high five, right? We're in this for the long run, and like that's why we explain refeeds, and that's why in the past we explained training phases and stuff like that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, these are like you're saying, it's key to being able to see those long-term results. Because like with those people that we were talking about that have lost over 100 pounds and they've been in a deficit for years. Like I've known people who have been in a deficit for actual years straight. And that's where, like, when you do start to increase those calories, this is what can happen if you don't do this right. You increase those calories and you put on fat really easily. Like you increase those calories by 500 and your body, like you've been in essentially a state where your body thinks you're dying or you're on a deserted island somewhere and you need to store everything. You get into a storage mode, survival mode, and you start storing everything as fat. Because like Sully was saying earlier, like you were saying earlier, it's literally like fat is going to stick around the longest. That's what's going to keep you alive the longest. So if you are basically telling your body like, hey, we're not getting enough nutrition, like that's telling your body you're dying essentially. And it's going to, after that, store everything as fat. So taking these little breaks where take your foot off the gas just a little bit, where you go slower and then go into it. That's what will prevent that from happening. So you aren't yo-yo dieting and end up gaining a whole bunch of weight back.
And in the future, I think we even might do like a 5 to 10 minute breakout session. Krista Smith, who is an app advisor here at 1P, and shameless plug, she's one of the best people I know. So I'm going to put her link in the bio so that if you want to work with her, you 100% can, like, because she's one of the best. Not only app advisors, but human beings. Like, she talks about this because she was in a caloric deficit for like a year. And then she has a story about how she comes out of it. So I think we're going to do like a 5 to 10 minute breakout session, all three of us. So we can go a little bit more in depth on her journey and what she sees from that angle.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's awesome. Because, she went through it herself. She lost over 100 pounds. So she's a great person to talk about it.
She's such an inspiration in more ways than one. I mean, we have so many people around here. We always name drop people. But, like, she's one of the best human beings I know. So, it'll be great to get her to explain her side of the story, that side of the story.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that just reminds me of the post show for bodybuilding specifically. You're essentially doing a diet break right after the show. So don't go into the mindset of, hey, I get to go eat whatever I want after the show's done. No, do not do that. That's going to go horribly. Like what I was just talking about with you gaining fat rapidly, that is tenfold in the post-show setting. It is crazy. I put on, I think it was 22, it was right around 20 pounds it was either 24 or 48 hours after one of my shows.
Oh my God, sis. Jesus.
Yeah.
Not only that, they're going to find themselves like you today and get your ass on the toilet.
That was not fun when I gained that 20 pounds. That was rough then.
Hey, we're just being real out here because that's what happens if you don't do it right.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta warn you. I've been through it, so I don't want you guys to go through that yourself.
All right, sis. I think we're gonna wrap it up, man.
Yeah, bro.
You got anything going on, or anything that you want to plug?
No, I think I'm good, man. I mean, any only thing I would plug is this podcast. So we already did it.
All right, yeah, dude, I agree. Like, people should like, comment, subscribe, share. Give us a little bit of feedback, little bit of
Yeah.
update. We are going to get this on Spotify podcast and Apple Podcasts and all that good stuff.
Mhm.
It's my fault. I haven't drove the first 5 episodes in there, and then 6 is going to rip everything for us, rip the audio, and read it up there for us. So,
Yeah, get us
sorry about that. I've been
everything.
dragging the feet a little bit. It will get up there, I promise you guys. Thank you so much for following along and enjoying the journey with us.
Yeah, thank you guys. I love everybody that watches the show. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Catch you later.
Peace out.
All right, stop. You stop.
Yep.